Okay, I know what you're gonna say. You just saw my last video earlier today saying stop using this hero. However, we were talking about a very specific situation in the mid game. What I want to show you guys here today is the power of still having a Starwing Jahra on your account, however, just not making it the most overpowered hero possible. Now, we do have one of the most overpowered heroes possible on our team, and we're going to show you guys the synergy of Therapist of Blood Betty and having just even a tenant Starwing Jahra on your account. Yes, you can still use like a Rui Scepter and stuff like that. I'm going to show you the power of having both of them on your lineup. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let's jump right into it. So here's what we're going to do with our squad. Of course, it is time to keep pushing. Tower of Oblivion is, not Tower of Oblivion. Tower of Dream is starting to like hold some people back, but it does look like most people are getting 27 does look like the point where a lot of people are starting to experience troubles. Blub is, I think, on my server, right? And he's gotten through some of the stories. So 27 seems to be very difficult. We're way behind still, as you guys know. But what we're going to try to do is throw in our up hero. Sadly, we don't have the newest Transcendence hero, which means we will have an open spot on our team. Here's what I'm going to show you guys today. So let's just chuck in all three of you since we don't have the other one. We will make sure, yep, Betty is here. We're going to put in Jahra because that is our topic for the day. And we'll just throw in, yeah, sure, that looks good right there. We are, of course, going to be using the Core Liberation, the Core of Origin on our Betty. But we're going to show you guys how it can kind of work out as well. You know what? Maybe we should even just take that out. You know what? I'm going to show you a really bare bones team and show you guys potentially how it can work. So even if the enemy goes first, oh, they hit the wrong target. There we go. So here we go. What this helps do here is we get to CC a lot of the enemy, and then Jahra can come in as well behind her and do something on top of that, because of course, you know, everybody can remove CC at the end of the round. Running the Rui Scepter might not be the best pick here because we kind of want a round one active. To be honest, just going with something like a Demon Bell might be pretty strong here. So if we jump into these battles, what this does is it's kind of insurance for our Betty, because as you know, Betty on our team has a very high chance to CC, but if we also add in a chance to CC with Jahra, it can be really strong. Now, Tower's not the best example, but just because, I mean, the enemies are still kind of weak to us. They're not like super strong or anything like that. Somehow none of them touched our Betty here, but again, we still have a chance to get additional CC off, because the more buffs and debuffs you can put on the enemy, that basically allows you a better chance to keep them CC'd into the next round, because there's more things on them that they could technically purify. And if they can't purify everything, like you can see right there, they got rid of the buff in the back row there. Granted, I think the Cthulhu really melted us. But it does give us an additional chance. You can see right there, the dots from the Cthulhu is just absolutely wrecking us. So we're going to throw in our Vulcan for one fight just to help us out. As you can see, I mean, everybody's like dying from those dots from the Cthulhu. It's just so bad. Just needed a Vulcan to be able to survive that hit for us. We'll take him back out. You know, we'll just throw like a queen in the lineup, something like that. Something not so useful. Helps with our damage, which is cool. But this is where you can see how we get to literally, like right there, we stopped half the enemy team from doing anything. And then on top of that, see, we have a ton of different CC going out. So even if they purify those chains, the twine ability from Betty, we have Jahra's kind of coming up behind it to keep them locked down through the next round, because we can technically have like 3 or 4 different CCs on enemies nowadays, whether you have Hyperspace Hunter Ilamok on your team, there's stuns, there's freezes. All these things make a huge difference, because if you can just chain together a ton of CC, that means you can use energy feed Demon Bell type teams once again. That definitely helps the rate that our Jahra CC's enemies too, because she'll have a ton of extra energy and focus. She'll be able to break through the immunities and stuff, and you can see it's a really cool combo. We might try to do some other battles too. I wish I could show you some in Void campaign, but we're stuck on a Valkyrie wave, which is literally the one counter to this type of setup. But putting ridiculous amounts of CC out is amazing in the end game. However, like I said, if you do have a Betty that's strong enough to CC like this, look at this. We basically have almost the entire enemy team CC'd already. We now get to have her come back behind and put some petrifies on the enemies too, so that the next round happens, they're still CC'd, or at least there's a higher chance that they will CC. Which is good, because that means we get to control the flow of the battle, which is just absolutely amazing. Sherlocks are a weird one because they can reflect some of the CC we get hit, but eventually they run out of cards, especially when you have this many crowd controls on them, that it just gets a little out of control and they just can't keep up with the number of crowd controls you're actually applying on them. Again, look at that. We take it from going second to basically having first dibs here, and a lot of CC going out right there. Absolutely amazing. Gotta love it. And then if the enemy's not attacking you, so long as they're not like a Cthulhu, a Valkyrie, you have a much better chance to win the battle just by keeping them locked down and letting your heroes get a round 2 first initiative too. Because that's the whole thing about adding Jahra in. Number one, Betty's the one that gets you the initiative in the first combat. Right here, we need our Betty to get hit so that right here, now we get to go first before the other 4 because they're going to be CC'd. Well, almost. But the Jahra helps keep them CC'd, because if we watch at the end of the round here, see how they broke out of Betty's twine, but they were still CC'd by Jahra? That is the key point of having it. But it's really nice because you don't need a super overpowered hard carry Starwing Jahra to make this work. You really don't even need a super overpowered strong Betty either. They can both be like householders or just E5, V4, something like that. They don't even really need the sublimation. It does help, of course, especially the core of origin for the Betty. But you can just have them paired with your other main heroes, and it just makes combat so much easier once the enemy is going first. Now, if you're going first, then Jahra can still do her thing. You can get the energy feed set up going, but the combination of their crowd control is amazing. And then if, for example, we had Lord of Fear Aspen in this combo as well, which is a very good hero to use, I highly recommend Lord of Fear Aspen to every single account in existence. It makes it so that you can even have a fear effect on them that drains energy in the back row, and then they have 3 different types of CC, maybe even 4 potentially on all those heroes. So keep that in mind. It is a very good strategy to have. You can see right there, we're sharing the different types of CC. Literally got 2 different types of CC on both of them, which means it makes it a lot easier to keep them locked down. And honestly, I think we might just be able to like continue with this squad and beat the, I think we even can do the nightmare difficulties with this team. I really, really hope they hit her very fast though. I might need to put her in the back row, because the Aspens are going to hit the back row and then just annihilate us. Oh my goodness. Granted, the Betty is doing good. Not quite what I need. So let's put her in the back row this time and hope she gets hit by... Oh, that was perfect. That was perfect. Betty got hit, so she's going to trigger her passive, and then we CC everybody, and this is really good. Tons of crowd control out. Bam. Look at all that CC. That is what I'm talking about, and that's why this team is so lethal. We want to just make sure they don't have damage reduction on these waves. We want to be able to do as much damage to them as possible. We're not really worried about how much damage they do to us because we have Unbending Will, and that's all we need to trigger to keep us in the fight. Like I said, look at all that crowd control. They just don't even get to participate in the battle because of it. Now, he might break out because he only has 1, and then he can completely wreck our team's face. So again, keep that in mind. This is why having multiple CC heroes can be very, very good for your account. That should be fine. I don't think them having a high crit chance is going to matter too much. Let's see where they hit. That's perfect. Now, Amun-Ra is the one oddity here too, because Amun-Ra, no matter how many crowd controls are on her, she will remove them at the end of round because her passive skill makes it so that all CCs only last 1 round. So that when the round ends, she breaks out of every single one of them. This one could be tricky. There's Gustins, there's Sword Flash She, and Sword Flash She is going to go after the weak ones first. We locked most of them down. Ugh. This is a really tricky battle here. The ping damage from Gustin is like brutal. Luckily, if you keep the sword flashes CC though, they can't really do anything against you. And lastly, We'll get rid of their armor, and to round this battle out, we'll take you out. We'll put you back in to make sure we keep getting all the up points possible, even without the Transcendence hero. Yeah, assassins. They're always going to go for the lowest HP, which is a little annoying in this situation because you can't make them hit Betty. But again, we have all these different types of CC out. They just don't get to participate in the battle. And then, oh my gosh, Azraels are disgusting. We have to try to kill both of the Azraels together. Otherwise, it kind of runs into a lot of issues here. Might need to substitute in a damage dealer in this case, because CC is nice, but the Azrael on death damage, oh my god, it's so disgusting. And in this situation, okay, we might need to use someone that's a little maybe tankier that can finish the battle for us and not just instantly melt to the Azrael death. Let's see if this makes a difference for us. Hopefully it does. Yeah, there we go. Oh no, we still die. Oh my gosh, Azraels are so weird how it works. Maybe going in with a this is really tricky. There's so much damage getting output in this round. It's crazy. Oh my god, we still completely melt. This might be one of those oddities where we need to take some up heroes out and we need to just throw in like a legit team just to get the victory here, which is annoying. We're not going to get extra upgraded stuff, but either that or maybe using something like maybe like going back to the melodic string strategies. No, that works. It's fine. It's good. We claim it out. We get our depth done. But that's kind of like a little preview for you guys on why still using Jahra can be very, very useful. However, you don't really need a super duper powerful Starwing Jahra. But in paired with Betty, they're very good even in the end game, even at a super low power level in comparison. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. I'll see you guys next time.